Hi, everybody. This is Richard Schelp with Executive Speakers, and this is the 10th edition of Behind the Curtain. In Behind the Curtain, we tell you a little secret about one of our favorite speakers, and then we also teach you a little something that can help you with your speaking business. Our guest today is Ken Schmidt. Ken is known as being one of those most important people that helped turn around the Harley-Davidson brand. He is also the author of the book, Make Some Noise. He is the co-founder of an outstanding training organization called Torque Sessions Leadership Training.
Yeah.
And he is one of the top leadership and customer loyalty speakers out there. Hey, Ken, nice to have you here.
Pleasure to be here in beautiful Memphis.
Love you being here. And I got to tell you, it's great when I find out little things about the speakers.
Yeah.
And I love what you told me about what you did as a kid, scalping tickets. And as a huge sports fan, I absolutely love it. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience around Penn State doing
sure.
that?
I was very fortunate. I grew up in a small town, central Pennsylvania, called State College, PA. Had a population of about 30,000, but what we also had was a major college campus.
Penn State.
Attached as Penn State University. So I basically grew up on campus there where football was, and forever will be, the second religion. Now, as a kid, right about the age of 12, I made an amazing discovery. And what I discovered was if I would get on my bicycle and ride up through where the RVers were parked on Friday night before the game, and could just say, I'm looking for tickets. I need tickets. People would give me tickets. Give me, not sell me.
They were handing you
tickets.
tickets.
They said, oh, here, kid, I got an extra. Like, enjoy the game. And then I think, well, I could probably get $10 for this. And I start thinking, well, actually, no, I could probably get $50 if Ohio State was coming. So I'm like a 12-year-old kid making $200 on a Saturday, which was, that'd be like, that's over $1,000 in today's.
That is crazy money. Crazy money for a 12-year-old kid.
I was shocked at my mattress. Had all this cash in there, but I was afraid to spend it because I was afraid that my parents would find out that you can't afford that new bicycle out of what you're getting delivering papers. So I eventually got busted when the Monsignor at our church found out that the tickets that he gave me, that it wasn't me sitting in the seats, it was somebody else. And they said they bought the seats from some kid out in the parking lot. And that was when mom gets the call from a Monsignor, things don't go well. So that was the end of my scalping career. I didn't even know scalping existed. But my heart goes out to anybody at that age who can figure out how to make that kind of dough.
I absolutely love it because you have, or at least I sense, a lot of entrepreneurialism in that move. Was that kind of the precursor for the business strategist that you ended up becoming?
What's funny about it is it spoiled me, because from that point afterward, I'd be working these minimum wage jobs, up through high school or into college, washing dishes or flipping pizzas. I get $1.80 an hour. I was getting $75, $100 an hour selling those tickets. It passed, but it's kind of funny and kind of ironic, but I actually think that did sort of plant that entrepreneurial seed in me that, there are ways to kind of shortcut the wiring here, short circuit the wiring and get to bigger pots of gold by trying things.
I think so. Creativity in business, a lot of people don't realize just how important that is. New ideas, different angles, they're huge.
Creativity a lot of times is born out of struggle. And
That's
I
interesting.
really do, because
I like that.
when things are difficult, it kind of forces you to put a different hat on.
Yeah.
And say, hey, look, the way we've drawn this up for years isn't working anymore. And we desperately need to do something differently. And the problem is, and the challenge is how do we do that? How do we get people to look at a problem or an opportunity in a different way and attach a creative solution to the problem instead of a predictable, already been done solution to a problem?
Which is kind of what you guys did at Harley-Davidson, right?
Well, if we had done what most businesses do when we were essentially bankrupt back in the mid-1980s, if we had done what everybody did, and what got us in trouble in the first place, and said, we're going to solve this problem. We're going to solve our problem We're going to solve our marketing problem. We're going to solve our product problem. We're going to solve our profitability problem by building better products. And we built the better products with a lot of blood, sweat, and tears involved. But customers weren't showing up in throngs. And that's when the kind of the light bulb went off and said, I think we're pushing all the wrong buttons here.
Yeah.
We're trying to convince people to like our product and like us because of that. And the human species doesn't work that way. We like people first.
Yes, I would agree.
If we put a human face on this business, if we elevate and exalt and promote people first instead of promoting product first, folks are going to notice that. But also, when you're doing it at an individual level, people like that. People like being showered with praise. They like being around people that are visibly passionate.
Yes, they do.
That appreciate their being there, that are interested in them, that react to them. And the more we push those buttons, the more we delighted people. And the more people we delighted, the faster they came back and brought their friends with them. And next thing you know, the business starts to hockey stick upward. And it's like, I think we're onto something here, boys. We got to keep this going.
And you really did.
I will tell you, and I always enjoy looking back on this because it seems like ancient history. But when Harley struck gold after years of struggling, we were one of the most visible and popular companies on planet Earth. Every magazine, every business magazine, every celebrity magazine, any manufacturing magazine, anything had Harleys and Harley people on the cover. So we were just shocked that something could take off and thrill people the way.
And now even soccer moms had Harley-Davidson tattooed on them.
It's unbelievable. Where's your? I was told you'd have a tattoo, Richard. I'm
hiding it.
I'm a little upset.
I'm hiding it. Well, I love that, and that's a great segue into what we really want to teach our speaking audience today, because we want to teach them a little something that's going to help them with their business. And one of the things that you do in your presentations is you bring out that surprise factor, that wow factor. Can you talk about how you do that in your presentations today and how that really makes a difference?
Sure. I'm a huge believer, and I found out, the hard way, the way a lot of people do, that if you tell people what they expect to hear, you haven't told them anything, because they're not going to remember. They're not going to nod along because it's stuff they've either heard before or totally expected to hear before. So I kind of base any of my speaking presentations, professionally, or even back when I was at Harley talking to investors. And I was like, okay, how do I reach people? How do I get them here in the heart? Mm-hmm. And that's by surprising them, telling them things that, first of all, that they don't expect to hear, but also telling them things that they can immediately begin to apply themselves.
Yes.
To make themselves more competitive, make themselves a better leader, make their businesses more competitive. And I always find that when you have people by the heart, the brain follows instead of the other way around. It's like, I'm not here to be logical and appeal to your sense of logic. I'm here to break the world down and show you how the world really works when you strip away all the artifice and the data and technology and jargon and products and problems, and just look at how the world really works.
Right.
And the world is a people-driven place. And when we glorify and exalt and extend our energies focusing on people and delighting people and saying and doing things for them that they don't expect, they remember that and they come back for more. That's the essence of loyalty. That's the essence of reputation. It's all these wonderful things that at the end of the day really don't have anything to do with what the business is selling.
And your presentations, when you're making them people focused and you're talking about that, you're getting a great response in those presentations.
My favorite response, and thanks for bringing that up, is it's always very reassuring to me when people come up from any type of industry you can possibly imagine at the end after I do a presentation, after the 5 minutes of thunderous applause and ovation. As they'll come up and say,
yes,
they always come up and say, I didn't see that coming. And I say, thank you for saying that, because that's why I do what I do. I don't want you to have an idea of what you think I'm going to be talking about.
Why be predictable, right?
Predictability is not memorability. Never has been.
I totally agree. What can the speakers themselves do who want to incorporate this into their presentations Do they need to just jump in with the ideas you're talking about right now, or should they slowly kind of work this into their presentations, the whole wow factor?
I like putting it on the table and then taking it off the table immediately. So immediately hitting folks with the idea that this isn't what you expect it to be. And a lot of times, you know, it's like anything else. Somebody's giving a presentation, or, you know, an economist or something, that person's going to get up and talk about the state of the economy or the state of the business or the industry that they're in. And I always say, boy, if they just took a step back first, made themselves a little bit vulnerable,
right?
Said, look, I'm going to say something that people don't expect to hear. If for no other reason, then they're going to sit up in their chair. Like, wait, what? I wonder why he said that. And it's not for shock factor. It's just that kind of surprise of, oh, you woke me up. Now you've got my attention.
Yeah. Now you've given me something to think about.
Yep.
I absolutely love it. Absolutely. Is there a speaker that you have seen other than yourself that has been able to achieve a little bit of that wow factor?
Actually, quite a few. Some of my favorites are Jamie Clark.
Yeah, Jamie, yeah.
Adventure, mountaineer. And people think, okay, I'm going to get someone's going to come out and talk about the struggles of climbing Everest or something, which is kind of cool, but you sort of expect that.
Going across the Sahara Desert.
And he's just this whirling dervish of all this energy and all this passion and all this humor. So it takes that notion of being an adventurer or a mountaineer, not only in the language that we can understand, but language that we want to hear more of, that a leader goes, hey, you know what? If I talk to my employees the way he's talking to us right now, they're going to want to hear more about, you know, whatever it is that I have to talk about.
Absolutely.
That kind of stuff really inspires me a lot.
I love that. I love that. And he is such a great example of that, the shock factor, the wow factor. And I really love...
And laughter and vulnerability.
Laughter and vulnerability is awesome in there too. And I think being human, you go back to the whole human aspect. You being human as a presenter makes a big impact on the audience, who are also humans.
Absolutely.
You can relate to them a lot better, and they can relate to your material a lot better, correct?
I couldn't possibly agree more with that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I thank you so much for being our guest today. You're fabulous. It's inspiring. It's inspiring what you did and what you've passed on to our little speaker audience. And thank you so much for being our guest.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And thank you, audience, for your attention today. And you stay tuned for future episodes as you can find out what is truly behind the curtain.